Hi everyone, Pyro here with a much better mic setup, and I just earned 20k Zaraman standing in under 2 minutes. In this video, I'm going to talk about why Voidplumes are one of the most important resources in the game, and how to earn them as fast as possible. So, let's get into it. Voidplumes are a resource that can be exchanged with Archimedean Yonta for standing with the Holdfasts faction, here in the Zaraman. The standing can then be spent with two very worthwhile vendors. First is Cavalero, who sells a variety of powerful and sought after arcanes, as well as some very powerful Incarnon weapons. Of particular note is the Leotum, which is arguably the best secondary weapon in the game, but all 5 of these are great. On the arcane side of things, we have Eternal Eradicate and Onslaught for amp damage, Cascadia Flare is great for high status heat secondaries, and Cascadia Overcharge can be fun with certain frames. Molt Efficiency can be used if you really need the extra duration, and of course we have Molt Augmented, which is a huge strength boost that many builds love. Molt Augmented in particular is always in high demand for trading, so if you keep stocked up on Voidplumes and buy some copies every day, you can have a small but consistent income of plat. Now, if you're an Orbiter decorator, Hombask is the most important vendor. She sells all kinds of useful items, including the ever-present Zaraman wall panel and large wall panel, a variety of crates, boxes, and lockers that also provide flat dark grey surfaces, these long tables for white surfaces, and a load of clutter items, some stuff that's good for greebling, wall decorations, and this sad pile of leaves that costs 10,000 standing. Seriously, can't we just steal some of these that are lying around? Your daily Zaraman standing cap will be the biggest factor in how long your Orbiter build will take, so increasing your MR to raise the cap might be a good idea. So, with your daily standing you have a choice to make: Arcanes and Incarnons from Cavalero, or Decorations from Hombask. You can probably imagine which option most players choose, and it would be nice if Hombask instead sold her items for resources, or at least if her standing costs were reduced. Because, seriously, 40k standing for some mouldy plywood? There's one right here, just let me take it. We could just airlift it out of here. I mean, what's Hombask gonna do about it? She's a ghost. Anyway, the fastest way to earn Voidplumes is to speedrun Steelpath Exterminate bounties, ideally when it's at the highest tier, to earn 8 Voidplume quills per run, which equals 20,000 standing. Pay attention to the bounty objective, because some take much longer than others. The fastest is Efficient Extermination, since we'll be completing the mission in well under 6 minutes anyway. Steel New Strength is also quite fast. It only adds a few seconds onto the run because the Loke Surges that you have to interact with are usually along the main path through the tile set. The other objectives are much slower. Wake and Banish is good if you still need Voidplume Pinions for crafting the Incarnon weapons, but otherwise the Void Angel boss fight takes too long. Boost Melika's morale is also too slow, as it requires searching for the Zaraman accolade to give her. Finally, weapons only extermination is the worst, as we'll be needing Warframe abilities to move fast through the mission. Ideally, we want the exterminate to be at tier 5, but if it's tier 4 or 3 it's still worth doing, especially if you're running low on those Voidplumes. Make sure you're on Steel Path to get the maximum Voidplumes, select the bounty, and jump into the portal to quickly enter the elevator. Before we begin the run, let's talk about some common mistakes that players make. First of all,
Haha! It's me, Mad Deivos, from the Anonyme Architekten. And I am here to declare to you that searching the map for Voidplumes is nicht gut. It is a waste of Zeit, even if you use the Orkenauge Raumschiff support from the Parallax. Save yourself the resources and Zeit, and you can also ignore the Void Engel, unless you still need the Void Pinions. If you really want to be efficient, like a guter deutscher Junge, then you have to infuse yourself with the power of Sauerkraut, Bratwurst und Jägermeister.
Yeah, what he said. Now let's talk about builds. Our goal is simply to complete the exterminate and extract as quickly as possible. There are loads of different warframe and weapon builds you could use to do this, but whatever you use has to meet these two criteria. It needs to move fast through the level, and it must be able to kill large groups of level 200 Steel Path enemies quickly. Some people like using Wisp with an Exodia Contagion Zor, or just their nuking frame of choice, but my personal preference is High Strength Volt with a Slam Archetytron. The idea here is that melee attack speed reduces the end lag of your heavy slam attacks, and High Strength Volt gives loads of melee attack speed with his second ability. We're combining this with at least one of the Naira set mods for the slam damage bonus. As for the hammer, we're using the Archetytron because its guaranteed electricity proc on slams works very well with melee influence, and of course Seismic Wave for even more slam damage. Before you all come at me in the comments, I want to make it very clear that the Riven is not necessary, the galvanized mods aren't really necessary. This cheaper build with just a rank 0 melee influence works just fine. Also, the Archon shards aren't necessary, and Shock Trooper is also really not necessary. This is just here for the funny numbers. Now for the mission itself, just kill the enemies as fast as you can, and if there's a bounty objective, complete it along the way. With this Volt Slam build, you want to slam the large groups of enemies for maximum efficiency. If there are just a few enemies spread out across the larger rooms, ignoring them may save some time. Also, don't bother switching to operator mode to kill the Thrax Spectres, as this is just another waste of time. And don't worry if you die, just use a revive to quickly get back up, you'll only lose a few seconds. Get in, get the required kills, get out. The faster you get your runs, the more runs you'll be able to complete before the bounty choices cycle over. Use this farm to stock up on a few hundred Voidplumes whenever the right exterminate bounties show up, and then just turn them into Yonta every day without actually having to run bounties every day. This way, even on days when you're unable to play the game, you can still quickly log in, say on mobile, and get your daily standing. And that's about it. Big thanks to Mad Deivos for his help with this video. If you're interested in taking your decorating skills to the next level, I'd highly recommend checking out the Architects Anonymous YouTube channel, where you'll find some truly awesome Orbiter and Dojo showcases, and join their Discord. I hope you found this guide useful. Let me know in the comments what your favourite Warframe build is for this farm, and I'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching, bye!